Okay, so please give me honest feedback and tell me things to improve on. I can totally do that. I swapped to keyboard and mouse a few months ago after being on controller my whole life, and I've been bronze the whole time. I hate it. I'm so tired of being bad. Be honest, does anyone think I'll ever get out of bronze, or do you belong here? Well, no one belongs in bronze. No one belongs in bronze. You simply either aren't doing things that are going to get you out of bronze, or you're doing things that are keeping you in bronze that other people don't do, which is why they're higher rank. So whether or not you belong in there, it's mostly a mental thing. But you probably don't, but let's go see. So we are bronze 2, Genji, and this is your player tag. So just the first feedback I'm going to give you is that don't go too hard, don't go too hard on yourself if you're not adjusting well to the keyboard and mouse. Cause me personally, I had it really easy when it came to moving from console to PC. And bro, I've been playing controller games since I was like 6, and I'm 20, right? So I've been playing on a controller for a very long time. But I find it relatively easy to kind of get on PC and just play. But I know for some people that's not the case. Don't worry about it, right? Really don't worry about it. Like unless your aim is like completely horrible and you don't know what you're doing with your movement keys, there's not really a problem. It just comes with actually improving. So because I don't know much about you, Mr. Hal, I'm just gonna see what's going on, and I'll just talk about it. I don't really have anything specific in mind. I just want to see what's going on. Okay, that was close. Deflect. I don't want to be too nitpicky because this is kind of bronze, and I don't want to go too in depth, but your cooldowns are really important, and especially as Genji, you want to have your cooldowns ready for when you want to engage. Because what if in the next 10 seconds you see an opportunity to go in on someone, but you can't because you don't have deflect, right? That's why cooldowns are super important. And here, your deflect, it was just kind of wasted, right? There was no real reason to use deflect here because either you could have just dodged or just not gone over here in the first place, right? You can just move to the left instead of taking all of the damage. But that's a small thing. Don't shoot bubbles if you don't need to. Just chill. We're trying to climb up. Honestly, I get it. The wall climb is so shit in this game. I don't mind the deflect here as much because you're actually drawing aggro. The reason why I like this deflect compared to the other one, what's your queen doing? I don't know. So the reason why I like this deflect compared to the last one over here is because all of the enemies were standing here and they were all looking down this way anyway. But now the enemies are kind of backed up a little bit. They're still looking this way, but you're kind of preventing them from shooting, a guy over here. Maybe if someone peeks up top, they can't shoot this guy. If your queen walks forward and goes here, they have to choose to either shoot you or your queen. So I don't mind this deflect. Again, I would still rather you use your deflect to help you contest angles like this Ashe. Maybe you could, I probably personally wouldn't do this, but you could dash up here, can contest this angle, and then because you've got deflect, it's actually a decently fair 1v1 that you can take. Good angle, good shots. Okay, we dash in. And here, you almost died for 2 reasons, and they're both separate reasons. So number one, you almost died here because you dashed in for no reason, right? So the reason why I said it wouldn't have been a bad idea to dash on the Ashe is because that would have been an isolated 1v1 and you had a way to get out, right? So if you dash up here, you can wall climb up, you can jump over here, you can jump down, you've got a lot of escape options, right? But dashing into the open space over here, there's not really a lot of options, especially because you now don't have dash. The main way you're going to use dash most of the time is to use it to try and confirm kills. So if this Freya was 75, 100 HP, you could dash on this guy, and then because he's actually pretty killable, you can just turn around and then shoot him, and then he's going to die because he doesn't have a lot of health, right? But because you've gone in and no one's necessarily killable, you're not able to get that dash reset, which puts you in a really vulnerable position. And if these guys were better, then they would have killed you a lot faster. And the second reason you almost died is, okay, let's say dashing in here was a good play, right? The Freya was low, but you just missed mechanically. Cool, okay. Now we don't have our deflect to actually have this fight with because we used it earlier in kind of a bad way. to just kind of take some poke when we didn't even need to take the poke. So because we used the deflect here, we now don't have the deflect for when we're actually engaging. And engaging on Genji is when our spike in value goes up the most, right? Because we're actually close to the enemies and we're the most lethal. So like those are the two reasons why you almost died here. One, because you dashed in when the Freya wasn't actually killable. And like just to be specific, you kind of dashed into open space, right? You dashed in like right here, and there was a Zarya here, Freya, Ashe, Lucio, you know. You were kind of in open space. And then the second reason is that you didn't have deflect. But you got out and you're good. So now we can re-go in. Why did we deflect here? Oh, yeah, because we had to live. That's fine. So like, this deflect was good because it's actually going to help you stay alive. Now, positioning-wise, as Genji, I don't want you to be here because on this map, right? Like look at how the map is built, okay? You've got a bunch of high ground and then a bunch of open space, which you as the attackers have to cross. And if you stand in this tiny little choke here, where do you think the enemies are all gonna look? Into the choke, right? You can see the Freya, you can see the Lucio, you can see the Zarya, Mercy, and Ashe are all looking this way. So if you stand in this choke, there's no chance for you to actually walk forward and try and dash into someone without dying basically immediately because they're all looking here. So what you can do is once you realize that going over here isn't really going to net you any value, think of different places to go. So maybe we can wall climb up here and maybe try and sneak on this Ashe. Maybe unlikely, but it's a separate thing to do. Maybe we can wall climb up here and take the window because it gets us a little closer and it lets us get on an off angle, which an off angle is just an angle where the enemies aren't paying attention to. So like if all of the enemies are looking into the choke, then you appear on the window. Well, then the enemies now have to make a choice. Are they going to look at you or are they going to look at your team? And you'll notice I'm going to talk about off angles a lot in this video because Genji is like really good at using them. So you could go up here, or maybe, and honestly I think right now you could go around here, go for a flank play, and then try and take control of this high ground, because now you being behind them is going to be really good for you because you can use the high grounds, you know, to your own advantage and kill these guys. But what it also does is it kind of prevents them from playing over here, and it forces them to either push you out, which means they're going to be distracted by you, or because you're playing here and they don't want to be here, they're going to move over here because obviously they want to create the distance away from you. But playing over here means that now they're going to be trapped in this little like lane over here. And then any of your other teammates are going to have a little bit of an easier time walking forward, especially if someone takes the window, because then they can drop, walk on the point, and get a lot of stuff done. So that was a lot of yapping about like where to position, but now I'm just going to see like what you actually do. So like, this is good. This is good. And like you see how you're able to get to them without them knowing you're there. So I just did all of that fucking talking and you made the right play anyway. Well, not the right play. You went to the right place, but the mistake you make is you dash in. You don't need to dash in. Why? Well, like I said, you only really want to dash in if someone is actually killable. Because if someone isn't really killable, you're gonna find yourself in the middle of the open without any dash, and I can guarantee you're probably gonna die pretty quick. Yeah. So the reason why you died is simply because you engaged, which is good. You like the good part was engaging, but the bad part was that you had to use your dash to do it. Instead of using your dash to go in, just walk on the Lucio, get close, and then start shooting. And then guess what? You're going to have both of your cooldowns, so then you can use your deflect if you want to kind of like extend how long you're engaged. And then if things get really bad, you can just dash out, because now you've gotten value of going in, but you also were able to get out as well. Because like you see how everyone's looking at you. This is exactly what would have happened had you just walked on the Lucio, right? So like now you're fighting, everyone's looking at you, which means your team can walk forward, but you have your cooldowns, which means you can get out. So now you've made a distraction play, and now because the enemies are distracted, the team walks forward and you take space. But I do understand that the demons are kind of talking to you here, so it's fine. And in terms of your mechanics, I mean, you seem pretty fun. Like, you know, I'm not seeing any like adversely bad aim or any like weird mechanical things. You seem to know where to put your crosshair. You know, you seem to know what to do. Okay, just be careful here. I don't mind the deflect here because you're not really gonna have a chance to engage people. I don't mind you like deflecting if you're not gonna need it in the next 10 seconds, right? So like right now, you're not really gonna need deflect. Why? Because you're probably not gonna go in because your dude needs to come back. And if you engage without a tank, it's going to be pretty hard here. So this is chill. I mean, I kind of don't like this, but I kind of also do. Like, if you can get out, it's actually not terrible. Because now you're behind them, like, you can see, this guy's going to be threatened, right? And he's going to be paying attention to you. But I want to go back very quickly. Because you kind of messed up a little bit here. So here, I wouldn't walk forward if the Ashe looks at me, right? Because, like, I can see the idea. The idea is that you want to dash on the Ashe. But this is only really going to work if she's not paying attention. The second she starts looking at you is when she has the advantage. You have the advantage if she's not looking at you because of the range. But when she looks at you, she can do more damage to you than you can do to her. So, knowing this, when you see her look at you, especially when you have no deflect, you just need to use cover and then either move to a new angle or wait until she looks at a different angle, and you'll know this by hearing shots. And then you can try and re-engage again. Doing this is kind of risky because you see how you got shot and you already lost the 75 health before you engaged. And then you had to use deflect. And then, like, dashing in here was, like, really risky because you had no deflect. I actually don't mind the play itself, because you need to kind of try and take some space, because, like, this point is like really bad. So this is like the one time where I'd say using dash to try and contest an angle is good, because stopping this Ashe from shooting your team is actually going to get a lot of value. Just side thought, the timing here is like very early, or like way too early, because your tank isn't here, which means your team isn't going to be able to capitalize on this. But, like, that's like a minor thing which can be fixed kind of after you going to understand why this was bad, because obviously, like, your tank's not here, your team isn't going to be able to do anything, even if you do distract them, right? And again, because you had to use deflect before you engaged, this engagement was, like, really hard for you. Honestly, once you dash over here, right, even though you've lost a bit of health, fighting this is basically completely fine, because you can shoot and then deflect and drop when things go bad. But, like, do you see how, even though there's, like, everyone looking at you, because your tank isn't actually here yet, your team can't really walk forward, because they need the tank to actually take space, which means everything you've done here hasn't really gotten any value. But we are now behind them. By the way, there's a mini in this room which you can try and grab, just so you don't have to heal up. Why do we use dash here? I think you wanted to go for the mini, but there's no point here, right? Because you can just walk to it. Deflecting the Zarya beam. I don't know if you know this. You can't deflect beams, at least in base game. Okay, same thing. You don't really want to dash people who aren't killable unless you know for a fact you're going to hit that one shot. And I'm just going to tell you now, 99% of the time, even the top Genji players are not going to hit this one shot. So just keep shooting. Like, keep attacking people. Just walk forward. You don't need to dash on them. Walk forward, get closer, start shooting, and then if they do get killable, then you can use your dash to actually try and confirm the kill. Because I hear you use your dash, but she doesn't die, and now you're stuck in open space and you might die. Good deflect. But, like, do you notice how close you were to dying? And the deflect was good. You see how having deflect actually allows you to engage? Okay, we just need to kind of shoot. You get grabbed, whatever. They use B. You have to get out. So yeah, this point is kind of tough for Genji. The best thing I can tell you is that you just need to go over here, or, like, dash straight across, because you need to get over the high ground, because you are going to do nothing poking on this line over here, or trying to walk into them as they see you, right? Like, you need to abuse this part over here. Yeah, like, it's just how it is. Okay. We live. This is fun. I'm gonna stop pausing as much. I just wanted to set the foundation for, like, what I want to talk about here. What about this Ashe here? I can see the vision here. She was decently killable. You can pop blade here. Nice. Didn't press deflect. Why do we use deflects? Like, what prompted the deflect here? Okay, same thing. We do not need to deflect these shots. And like, can you see how using deflect pointlessly has now put us in a position where like, in the future, we might engage where we want a deflect, but we don't have it. Can you see how using the deflect there for no reason, just in the poke phase, isn't really going to help you? Because now you don't have it when you need it and you're dead. That's tough, right? You could actually pretty decently won this fight if you had your deflect. I don't know why my frames are dropping to -15, but it's okay. Okay, we just shoot. Nice, good kill. See here, do you see how the dash is actually worth? Because the Lucio is actually killable, right? You see this guy low HP? Going for the dash there is fine because he's actually killable. Why do we dash here? Alright, boom, killable. Oh, okay, I think you just panicked because you wanted to kill the Zarya, but like you've already killed the Zarya. So like now if you dash, you're gonna have no dash. But honestly, it's fine because you've already got such a good advantage. Now using dash to get on top of people is good because you want to capitalize on the advantage, and that is gonna be you being in a 3v5, and you don't want to spend time being passive because you want to just clean up the fight. You don't want to give them any room to breathe here. Again, kind of a pointless deflect. You want to use deflect if you're actually going to die or get heavily pressured out. The Ashe wasn't even paying attention to you, so why even pop deflect, right? This is a pretty common recurring thing you do. You pop deflect for no reason. So it's like that's one thing to work on, which is good. Shoot this guy. He's in your face. Shoot him. You could have dashed that guy, by the way, because if we look at his HP, pretty low HP. You could just dash this guy, go for a right click melee, but instead you kind of got scared. Good dash, good dash. So why is this a good dash? Because she's low. You see that? Okay, let me go in. Boom, capitalize. And like you see how like now you get your dash reset, and it's such a like efficient, like yeah, efficient is like a good word here. It's just so efficient. You get the value, you get the kill, and you get your dash back so that you can keep engaging. Nice. Zarya gets bubbled. I don't mind the dash there. Why? Because Zarya's actually killable, and then you get your dash reset. Very good. Now I would like you to be setting up on the high ground here, because this is generally like a good Genji place to be. Either try and set up in this building to stop them from coming in, or just get up here so that you can access this high ground and stop them from getting onto this high ground here. I don't really want you to be on the low ground or just on the cart. Because that is just a matter for uptime. Because if you stand on the cart, then you're just letting the enemies kind of walk forward for free. You see how stuff is happening, but like because you're just on the payload, the enemies are able to walk forward for free. The Pharah's able to use ult for free. You haven't put any pressure on them. But instead, if you had gone up here and waited, well then you hear the Sojourn slide up. Oh, let me pop from the off angle. Right click, dash melee, dead. But instead, we are poking from range, which is what they want to do. That's not what we want to do. And like again, this is the problem of kind of playing on the off angle, which is why I want you to be in the building, because it creates an off angle, right? You see how because you're on main, you're just tanking all of the damage, because this is the choke where the enemies are going to look. If you wall climbed up here, you would make them look at you. If you wall climbed up here, you would make them look at you and not your team. Or, if they don't look at you, well then, you're just up here for free. You can engage this guy. You can get up here for free. You can engage this guy, right? You don't want to be in the middle getting shot out by poke heroes, because your poke isn't very good. Now, I do like that you turned around to go for the Ryan. This is very good. I can see the vision there. I like it. And we have deflect to do it as well, so that's fine. Going for the Mercy. This is good. Freya's killable. I like that dash because like the Freya was was pretty killable. It just comes down to a mechanics thing there. That's fun. I don't know if you beat yourself up over this play, but this was a good play, right? You saw that the Freya was like pretty low, right? And you thought, okay, yeah, I can kill her. You couldn't. You tried to kill her. I think after you use deflect, you need to back up because now you've got no resources and she can kill you very easily. Just drop and then go for the health back over here. But I like that you tried and you got really close as well. If you didn't melee there, you could have just dashed and killed her because she has low HP. But like that was a good play overall. Again, main. We want to take off angle, building. Let's go. No, wall climb. Okay, I mean, like, they're just giving you space for free. So, like, they're doing the same thing that you did, but they're playing so far, like, away from you that your team is able to walk forward for free. Can you see like how easy it was to walk up? That's what you did for them. I wouldn't recommend walking in the disruptor shot here. Again, useless deflect, right? Like what does this deflect do for you? Not only are you playing in the disruptor shot, which is stressing you out, but like this deflect also does nothing, right? Because you're not actually a threat to the enemies, right? So like now you have no cooldowns. So now when the fight actually starts, you're not going to be able to engage this guy or like engage the Mercy or something, right? You really don't want to waste your cooldowns on Genji, and like you're playing scared because you don't have any cooldowns. If you literally just chilled and did nothing and didn't take poke damage and didn't feel scared because you were getting poked, then you could do stuff. But like now you have to go AFK and not do anything, and only now can you engage after like after your two teammates die, after the Surge pops out, after the Ryan gets out, right? Like this would be an amazing Blade if you had your cooldowns right now. Like if you had your cooldowns right now and you jumped up here, this genuinely would have been top 5 greatest Blade of all time. But because you did this stupid shit of just, yeah, deflecting, no one's shooting me, right? Like it's pointless. It gets no value. And obviously you just shouldn't have walked into the disruptor shot anyway. You see the disruptor shot, run away. That's it, right? But because you don't have your cooldowns, you can't make plays. And because you can't make plays, you are a burden on your team. Right? You see how the Surge pops out and forces your team out when like you could be engaging this guy a little bit. I'm not saying you should engage the overclock, but like you could try and force it out a little bit. The Ryan's able to walk forward and go for the shatter and kill your teammates because he has no pressure from you. And like, cool. The engagement is really good. Good Blade. Right, very, very good mechanics. But it might not add up to much because you just did it too late because you had no cooldowns. Okay, you are stressing out way too much. Let's relax. I like the melees, but just melee when people are actually gonna die. So if they're under 2 bars, then just melee. But if they're full HP, don't fucking melee, right? Because like you see how you're just gonna, because like you missed anyway, right? So the melee wouldn't even do anything, and it animation locks you. Instead, there's a really cool button on your mouse. You might have heard of it. Let me show you what it looks like actually, right? So there's a really cool button in this game. It's called right click, right? And like you can press that when you're close to the enemy like this. And as Genji, that actually does a lot of damage compared to a melee. So use right click to actually win fights, and then melee when people are actually killable, right? Because you could have killed that Freya if you literally shot your gun, right? Do you see? Like, this isn't a mechanics thing. This isn't, oh man, I moved the keyboard and mouse a few months ago. No, this is literally press the button that shoots your weapon, and you kill her. That's it. And like maybe even the Mercy is there. And here you die because you kind of just wasted the dash, right? You just dashed into the Reinhardt for no reason instead of getting out. Like instead of dashing at the Reinhardt, dash to the escape up here, over here. Anyway, right? Don't dash into the Reinhardt. And if you do want to dash into the Reinhardt, know somewhere where you want to go to use cover. So okay, I dash into the Reinhardt. I'm getting shot. I have no cooldowns. Let me get out. How long has this gone on for? This has already been a 23-minute VOD. Okay, I don't want to hold you for too much longer. I think you'll likely be making the same mistakes on defense, but I won't skip over it too much. I'll just kind of go over it a little bit because I feel like we've already talked about the most of your problems here. Yeah, you probably lose the fight here. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So far we have some problems, Mr. Genji. So number one is that sometimes you find yourself going down main, and it makes it really hard for you to make a play, because number one, playing main with the rest of your team allows the enemies to shoot you a lot more easily than you can shoot them, because Genji is a close range hero and they've been playing Sojourn, Ashe, Freya. They do way more damage than you at range. So it makes you an easier target to shoot, but playing main also makes it harder for you to do reliable damage, because you're not able to get close enough to the enemies without them seeing you. And if people see you, well, then they're going to react to you, right? So I want you to try and take more angles where like the enemies aren't going to see you from. So like, for example, right? Do you remember the Ashe up here? And like you dashed onto her and then she shot you, right? So imagine if you were over here and then you hear the Ashe shooting down at the main. And like you're not going to take damage because you're not on main, right? So you can go here, hear that the Ashe is shooting, and then dash on top of her, and you've got the advantage because you've snuck up on her. You've used the element of surprise because you took an off angle. And then problem number 2 is just your cooldown usage is, for lack of a better words, terrible. Okay, for lack of a better words, it's terrible. You do a lot of pointless cooldown usage. So deflect number 1. Don't deflect poke, like you know, just like people shooting across the map for no reason, unless you know you're gonna have deflect back by the time you actually want to take a fight. For you in practice, that's probably gonna mean just don't deflect random poke unless you're actually going to die, right? That's the only exception. If you're actually gonna die and you need to use deflect, then use it. But don't use it just because the enemies are shooting you. Does that make sense? Instead, use the deflect to help you win your like duels and 1v1s on angles, and to help to extend the aggression and to get out of a 1v1. So that you can dash in or walk in, fight, and then when things go bad, you can either dash out, or you can use your deflect to get yourself behind a wall, and then you can dash out. And for dash, your dashes like are a little better, and you've used it good sometimes. The mistake you've been using with dash is mostly just dashing in on people that aren't actually killable, and it leaves you vulnerable in open spaces. And the way we fix that, only really use dash if you want to get close to someone to specifically duel them for that space, but that's not going to be very often, right? The most common way that you're probably going to be dashing is to use the, sorry, I can't speak right now, is to use it to capitalize on people who are actually killable, right? So when you dash on someone, they don't have to be 50 HP or whatever, but let's say that they're like 100, 125. You know that they're killable, so you dash on top of them, fight them, and then because they're so killable, you're just able to dash, shoot, melee, kill them, whatever, right? And then you can use your dash to get out. And then the second way I want you to use dash is going to correlate to the off angle, right? I want you to kind of use dash to disengage from angles instead of engaging all the time. So, for example, that would look like on that first point, your team was going through the bridge here, and then you dropped, and then you saw the Lucio, and then you dashed onto him. It's like, that was the mistake, right? But instead, just get here. This is an off angle. They're not paying attention to you. Everyone's looking at the bridge. So you can simply go here, drop, get in engagement range or your right click range, start shooting. And then if things go bad, get out, like dash out, right? Dash out here, over here, over here. It doesn't really matter, like as long as it gets you to safety. So like those are the 2 things I'd say you need to improve on. But I'm gonna watch this round in kind of like a more chill fashion, just to kind of point out some minor mistakes, because they're probably gonna be the same ones as before. Okay, your Mora just got shitter. Okay, well, your team low-key just got dogged. See, that's a good deflect. So when it comes to deflecting kind of like aggressively, obviously if you can see like an opportunity to like deflect something back and it's actually going to get like value, like a kill or a cooldown, then like do it, because you know it's pretty funny that you got value there. But I wouldn't do that all the time. I mainly want you to use deflect to allow you to play more aggressive, not to just deflect damage, if that makes sense. So again, we're just dashing in into no one, and now we're in open space, and now we can't dash out. And again, we're not using deflect for no reason here, but like we're just staying forward. So your mistake here is that you stayed way too far forward, right? You honestly should have started to back up when your queen died, because I think she did die, right? Yeah, when your queen died, just fully get out. Like there's no point fighting, right? You're not gonna win the fight. Kill this Ryan here, that's cool, but then get ready to get out. Maybe go to this corner so that the enemies have to cross a decent amount of distance, and then if they keep pushing, dash out, right? You don't really want to stay here, because you just simply don't really have your tank, and their tank is going to come back faster. Here, you just shouldn't have dashed in, and then here, you're just staying in too long, and then you die. That's it. Okay, this is a good deflect, because you're actually, you're taking poke, but because there's multiple people looking at you and you're actually kind of in danger, this is a good deflect. This is a concept called visual aggro, where it's basically just, okay, how fast should you kind of be ready to use your defensive cooldowns or whatever, based on how many people are looking at you, or who's looking at you. Because if it was just the Sojourn, even with Mercy hit, if it was just Sojourn and she had no rail, there's no urgency because like she can't one shot you. But now that it's Sojourn and Freya, that's a lot of visual aggro, which is going to be a pretty good guider for using your deflect. Okay, you got the disruptor shot here. Nice dash out. This is what I want to see, right? When you're in danger, boom, dash out, because now like that kind of cycle is going to allow you to get close from the off angle, shoot, and then use dash to get out when things go bad. You almost died there because you were standing in open space. Careful. You need to get health back or get healed here. Pointless deflect. Who are we deflecting? The Freya's not even looking at us. Who are we shooting? Instead of using deflect, there's a really cool thing on every map, and it's called natural cover, right? This building, Freya, no matter how hard she tries, cannot shoot you through the wall. She might be able to do like splash damage, but that's besides the point. Freya, no matter how hard she tries, cannot shoot through walls. So instead of using your valuable cooldown, that actually is a resource, just sit behind the wall. It's never going to break, and then just go get the mega hit. Okay, yeah, I don't mind that. That's a scenario where, like, I don't mind you, like, dashing up there because you're kind of, contesting an angle, right? You don't want the Freya to play on this angle. You can't really reach her, like, to surprise her. So dashing here, I don't mind because you're able to disengage from the fight very easily. I'd say that's, like, the kind of guideline for, like, you wanting to dash on that. Like, if you can easily get out. Here, we need to dash out. Okay. Again, we're just standing down main, standing in open space. But go kill. We get the kill on the Lucio, and then we try and kill the Sojourn. Stop meleeing! Stop! Just shoot your gun, please. Just shoot gun. Okay, but go kill. Am I really gonna watch this for 2 minutes? Yeah, sure. I'll do the favor. Okay, let's see the blade. Let's see this. I haven't really talked about the blade because like your blade mechanics are pretty good. And like your actual blades will get better when you know when to go in and actually how to use your cooldowns correctly. You need to shoot your gun though. Like your queen's gonna die because you're not shooting. I can see the vision with the blade here. Okay, you have deflects, nice. Now you have no cooldown to get out. Okay, so like here, this is a very like nitpicky thing. You need to have uptime, right? And uptime is just shooting. So I know you need healing, but there's a health pack here. Grab that, plus 150 health with full HP. We keep shooting, right? We don't need to run away, right? We don't need to run away and wait for healing. We need to just get a health pack and keep shooting. Because you see how your team is like it's just in. Okay, that's low-key the worst ult ever. Yeah, you're probably just gonna lose this like super fast. So like this deflect is an example of just kind of being useless, right? Because you're walking into the danger when you weren't in danger initially just to use deflect. You don't want to put yourself in a bad position just to use deflect. You want to put yourself in an aggressive position, aka engaging on someone, and then you can use the deflect to help you sustain on that angle. You don't put yourself in a bad spot just to use deflect, just to say you like got to use deflect, because now you're gonna die, and you could have just used your dash and deflect to just get out anyway, right? Without even having to take this fight. So like either get out or just die fast. Okay, you did neither, right? And you died late. That's whatever. Okay, we can dash onto this. Okay, I see that you want to go for the run, but you need to actually like engage on someone. And by engage, I just mean like you need to actually like get closer. Nice deflects. I'm not really going to talk about this because obviously your team's going to lose. Okay, so Mr. Genji, I'd say you've got 2 main issues and then just a couple of micro issues. So, or like 1 micro issue and then a piece of a device. So I already went over 2 of them earlier. The kind of positioning, like not being down main all the time, and your cooldown usage. So like those are the 2 things you should probably work on if you want to get better. I've already explained like how to actually get better at those things. But the other things is like are just very like micro and very small. Stop meleeing all the time, because it's costed you a bunch of kills this game. Instead of meleeing all the time, just shoot your gun. melee in Overwatch is literally just used to finish off someone, right? Where, like, it's like a fast animation that does a decent amount of damage in like a burst hit, and you just use it to finish off someone. You, however, melee. When someone's like 120 HP, no, just shoot your right click. You're going to get more value from shooting your right click in that situation compared to actually meleeing. You can melee, let's say, when you right click someone down from 120 and they're like 30 HP, because now they're actually going to die to a melee. And there's no point shooting if you could just melee them. And then the last thing I just want to reiterate is kind of visual aggro. And that's going to tie into your off angles, right? So when you take off angles, you're going to engage people from the side. And then people are either going to keep looking at your team, which in that case, you can just kill them. Or, most commonly, they're going to turn around to look at you. And that is going to be the amount of visual aggro you take. So if it's just one guy looking at you, you can kind of still take the fight. But, like, be careful. But if you start to see 2, 3, or like even 4 people look at you, that's a lot of visual aggro, and that should be an immediate trigger in your brain. Even if you haven't taken any damage in the moment, because there's 4 people looking at you, you probably want to press deflect just preemptively, because 4 people shooting one guy, well, I'm sure you can imagine what's going to happen. But like otherwise, right, you said that you swapped to keyboard on mouse a few months ago, and you've been bronze the whole time. I hate it. You're so tired of being bad. You're not bad. You just make bad choices. And if you fix the positioning and the cooldown usage, I think you'll get out of bronze really fast, because like your mechanics are pretty good for a bronze Genji who's been on keyboard and mouse like a few months. You've got pretty solid mechanics. You just need to make better choices and kind of get more active and have more uptime, and you'll be able to have more uptime when you position properly and you use your cooldowns properly to actually constantly engage people and actually be a threat to the enemies. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, Mr. Polo Button Up. Let me know in the comments of this YouTube video if you find any success from the advice I've given you. It does warm my heart to see people kind of improve from the things I tell them. And it also lets people know that like they can improve themselves. And so everyone else watching this, you can go check out my main channel if you're interested in more kind of like detailed but also not so detailed breakdowns of Overwatch 2 concepts. And if you're interested in coaching, you can check out the top link in the description. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.